Hi, Seacrest families. I hope this message finds you well and safe, healthy, and happy, and enjoying another lovely weekend here on the coast. We are rounding out our 7th week of school, and there is so much to reflect on. The hurdles that we've overcome, the successes that we've had, the numerous lessons that we learned, the challenges we know will continue to meet us in all the different paths that we're taking, but mostly that hope and optimism that we're seeing a glimmer of routine and normalcy and students learning and teachers connecting that is really driving us in the work that we do. The entire staff met Friday to do professional development. We connected, we reflected on what was working, what was not working. Teachers talked about our kids. They talked about how they're doing academically, socially, emotionally. Are they connecting, whether it's via screen or in person behind a mask? They looked at MAP testing and where to go from here. Those students that didn't get MAP testing or those subjects that weren't part of that, teachers still talked about how they're doing, the assessments that they're giving, and where to go forward. It was a day of a lot of work, and it was a day of reflection and planning and optimism, and I was very, very proud to sit in on numerous Zoom meetings where I heard teachers talk about what is to come. As we settle into the rhythm of campus and distance learning, as I mentioned, 7 weeks, we want to reflect and remember a few things. At this point, there are only 3 independent schools in San Mateo County that have either been open as long as we have or are offering as robust of program as we are. That means there's a lot of schools that are on an A-B schedule where kids come back 2 days a week. There's schools that are only doing half days. There's schools that are just bringing kids back now, starting with their lowest grades. Seacrest has been on the forefront of this, even right here in our own backyard. I was on a call with heads from California Association of Independent Schools, CAS, and out of 89 schools on that particular call, 3 of us had open schools, myself and 2 from La Jolla. Most counties across the state are just starting that process. So this means, the reason I bring this up is to remind us all that we're pioneering how to operate a school in COVID with hybrid learning, with teachers standing in a classroom with up to maybe 10 to 12 kids behind a mask, and then another cohort on a screen. It's incredibly amazing to watch, but it comes with lots of technical difficulties, lots of challenges. It's very complex, and your understanding and grace as we pioneer and figure this out is much appreciated. There is no guidebook on how to do this. There is no how-to from other schools that are ahead of us because we are that school ahead. I have calls every day with other schools asking, how are you doing this? And our teachers, administrators, and myself are guiding other schools through this process. We know and we knew that patience and flexibility were going to be key for this year. So thank you for sticking with us as we've had to alter schedules, as we've had to adjust different things. We want those things to stop and we want to say this is it, but that's just not the reality of COVID. So that flexibility, that patience as we go along is very, very appreciated. Please remember that no matter what, this year, while we're in COVID, will not be the same as a regular school year. I want to speak briefly about teachers. There's been some inquiry about teacher workload and what's happening on Fridays. And I wish I could, and maybe we will, but film a day in the life of a teacher. The complexities of having a stable cohort of a small group of people mean that the teacher is literally with that group of students pretty much the entire day. They get a less than 15-minute break when the kids eat snack. They get about 15 to 20-minute break when the kids eat lunch. And if they happen to have PE that day, they may have one slight break to meet and prep. Other than that, our teachers are on the entire day in a way that has never been seen in a school before. And talking about teacher and administrator burnout is on the top of most heads of schools' minds right now. Why we are not having school on Fridays is so that what could happen yesterday could happen. We have our asynchronous learning and teachers are connecting. And then outside of that, that is when they are planning. That is when they are conferencing with parents. That is when they are working with small groups. I know that Fridays are a huge burden for parents, and we are looking at creative ways to possibly bring some small groups of students back on Fridays for those that need it. But please note that just because school is a different schedule, in COVID, our teachers are working immensely harder during the school day to be able to operate multiple ways of teaching very different groups of students, whether they're online or in person. And by no means is the workload lighter for our teachers this year. We are committed to continuing to getting your feedback. We want to hear from you and we want to make it better. But also please note, if we send a survey out over the weekend, it takes us time to collect the feedback, to digest it, and then to make the appropriate response and adjustment in our schedule that makes sense for all. We know, and I know personally, there is no way to hit 100% satisfaction in how COVID's going to go this year. But please know that myself, the administrators, and every faculty and staff member at Seacrest is working tirelessly day in and day out to create the safest, most engaging, most loving, and most supportive place for all of our children to learn and to connect and to thrive this year. On that note, please read below all the incredible things that are continuing to happen on campus and in our digital classrooms this week and going forward. We are searching for all of those ways to connect, and I appreciate your feedback, your patience, and please remember to reach out to me with anything that may come up. Have a lovely weekend, and we will see you all tomorrow.